Alright guys, you asked for the reaction, let's go ahead and hop right into it. So this video is titled Why Diablo 4 Content Creators Are Quitting. It's a reaction to a reaction of AsmonGold, DM, and I think there's some mention of Rax in here, but lots of Diablo content creators
quitting Diablo 4. Everybody is quitting Diablo 4. Content creators are moving past the game. It was their identity, and now it's not.
This one, this post on Reddit.
I want to start off this video by saying that, like, I still will upload Diablo content, and just like any other seasonal stuff of Diablo, once I finish the season, I just kind of move on to another game, and when there's a new update for Diablo 2, 3, 4, we'll definitely be coming back, and that's a normal thing. This is even pre-Diablo 4. When Path of Exile would come out with the new expansion, we grind it for like a week, we drop like the build guide, we show off how certain things work, and then we play another game. And with Diablo 4, a lot of people may have this as their first brand new action RPG, and this is their very first one, so they don't know the rodeo. So to explain the rodeo in like a quick 20 seconds here, basically, it comes out to there's a new season, there's something to do, you experience it, you may or may not like it, there may be a new special boss at the very end. I defeat the special boss, and then I wait for the new content. It's not like a game where there's PvP and there's a lot of cool different interactions. Sometimes you experience it once. There's one new thing to do, or there's one new mechanic, and you kind of do that. And after you do that, unless there's some new item in that season for maybe your class, your build, you may have to swap to another character, and maybe you don't like that certain item or that new boss, you've already done it. You just move on. And it's not to say that, like, it's awful, it's like a terrible season. Sometimes you just complete a video game. One of my favorite video games of all time is Dark Messiah Might and Magic. I don't cover it because there's no new content. If they were to make an expansion, just like in Cyberpunk, now we're playing the new Cyberpunk playthrough and I'm really enjoying myself until I complete it. And then maybe we'll make a few video guides on like a build or like where some location of some crazy new secret is, and I'll play it. But for the most part, it's not a game where I'm going to be playing from start to finish 8 hours a day on the newer season. Unless, of course, there's enough content to keep me interested. And it doesn't mean that I don't like the game, but I just have to explain that really quick for those of you guys that maybe don't understand action RPG's life cycle. It's a new season, you play it for a week. For the min-maxers, for the casuals, maybe you can get like a month or two out of it, and then you wait for the new season, and that's totally okay.
And even Rax is moving on from Diablo 4, for instance, or people talking about Twitch viewership, etc. I thought what I would do today is pull the curtain back a little bit and kind of explain the analytics and why you might see other content creators, including myself, moving on and posting other content other than Diablo 4. For instance, I was posting Starfield content. For instance, I've got my second channel doing Elden Ring and like all kinds of random stuff. So let me explain to you from the content creator's perspective what exactly is happening with Diablo 4. You might have noticed a distinct lack of Diablo 4 content creators lately. And with some of the most OG...
Well, what the fuck are they gonna say? Hey, so there's this new build? Bro, we figured that shit out in the first day.
Okay, to be fair, there are some newer builds that I have personally discovered, like on Thorns on Rogue. These are some things that aren't really supposed to be in the game, to be honest. It's a kind of a weird thing that I had recently discovered by another content creator, so there is still stuff to discover. I'll be honest though, it's mostly going to be like glitches slash bugs that are not supposed to be intentionally added, but people have been figuring things out, and as time goes on, sometimes it takes like years to figure out some crazy build in a game that's not supposed to exist, but at the end of the day, yeah, for the most part, you're not going to be sitting there trying to build newer things because, well, at the end of the day, the way Diablo 4 is designed is you choose a core skill, and then you try to make sure that core skill gets as much damage as possible. You generally don't have basic builds in terms of like basic attacks only, with the exception of like Lunging Strike, Barbarian, or like, let's say, Arc Lash Sorceress. For the most part, you pick a core skill, and that's your that whatever core skill it is, you put that word and then you put build guide, and then that's kind of how Diablo works, at least for Diablo 4. All right, let's continue.
Like, what are they gonna do a video about?
In the community, such as Rax, even posting videos talking about how they're going to be playing games like Last Epoch and still covering Diablo 4 with the seasons, as I'm sure will all Diablo 4 content creators, but kind of taking time to play other things. Even other content creators that are major content creators, for instance, Yugioh, one of the most notable in all of Diablo 4, is posting mostly Diablo 3 videos.
Okay, to be fair, Diablo 3 brand new season just came out. I played it too, and like I've already moved on from Diablo 3. We hit rank 1 in the game for the Demon Hunter, and then I've already got you guys the build guide. I got the brand new Crusader build guide and the Witch Doctor. Those are the only 3 new classes that got new little toys to play around with a brand new season. So after I dropped the build guide on literally every single single new update, there really isn't too much to do. I could push the leaderboards, but again, I've hit rank 1. Sure, I could try to hold my rank and just grind it every day, try to get best in slot, primals, and try to compete with people that are botting, but at the end of the day, I feel like the first few days are the most competitive of Diablo 3. Again, botters is definitely kind of a problem, but this season, one thing that is nice, if you guys haven't seen, is the Paragon actually has an 800 cap, so it kind of alleviates some of the botting to be competitive. Yeah, it can be quite difficult to compete against people that are botting, or even want to compete when you know that there's people that are grinding thousands of Paragon, but at least with this season, again, not that big of a deal.
Bro, that's fucking sad.
Llama is back to Diablo 2.
Okay, but Llama is always on D2. Okay, even when D3 is out, he was all about D2. But at the end of the day, I was watching, I think, there's another content creator, DJ Waters, and he's a Diablo 2 guy as well. And he's like, I want to play Diablo 4 because it's a brand new game. Same thing with me. Like, if I was to go and say Diablo 2 or Diablo 4, what's a better game? No question, I say Diablo 2 every single day. But at the end of the day, I want to play Diablo 4 because it's a brand new game. It's the same thing with Diablo 3. I want to play Diablo 4 because it's a brand new game, but there's there was newer content in Diablo 3. It was a new season. I wanted to push the leaderboards. So I had a little bit more incentives. Plus, I got a feature on Blizzard in the actual Battle.net app. So I had personal incentives to play this season. And on top of that, of course, I like doing build guides. I like playing multiple builds. Diablo 4's another problem I want to say that exists in the game. It's hard to want to play multiple level 100s. Like every single season and grind out all 5 level 100. In D3, no problem. I hit up a homie. Hey, can you get me to max level? In maybe 5 minutes, I am max level, and then I can go get all of my sets, and then I can build whatever build guide I want to go for. It's a lot smoother.
Oh, back to Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. Oh my god.
In the other channels, kind of the more news and build type of channels. For instance,
Guild Wars update.
Gaming videos as well as open world games. They've already moved on to other games entirely. And of course, we have myself.
Okay, when they say move to games entirely, okay, let's be honest. When the new season of Diablo comes back, I'll be playing it. You're going to play it at least to check it out. And then if it's not good, we'll just move on to going back to other games. And that's fine. And on top of that, sometimes there's other games that can overshadow. I know at one point, I believe it was Path of Exile mentioned that Cyberpunk's coming out. So they were changing their release dates depending on games. And this is a legit strategy that a lot of game developers will use. If there's a big title, why would you want to compete with it? Like, for example, Last Epoch, another cool action RPG. But let's say Last Epoch and Diablo 4 came out on the same day. What do you think more people are going to be watching and playing, right? There are certain times where one game can overshadow another game if they are released too close together. So sometimes, having things spaced out can help out with games in general, so they're not competing. Like right now, the brand new Cyberpunk update just came out for the new DLC. A lot of people, including myself, are playing that. That's just going to be a big title, right? But anyways, let's go on.
I've been spending the last month basically digging deep into Path of Exile, trying the different game modes and playing it.
Pewee is awesome.
I will be live right now at twitch.tv/Darth Microtransaction. I will be playing hardcore Path of Exile on Ruthless Solo Self-Found.
That's so rough. Good luck, man. That is such a hard mode.
Basically every other notable content creator that I could find that was covering Diablo 4. Why are all of these people moved on? Or if not moving on, at least covering the game less. I myself am still making a Diablo 4 video right now, for instance. Not just YouTube, though, even though I don't really believe Twitch is a good metric of a game size. Diablo 3 and...
This is very true. I used to stream a game called Yugioh, and with Yu-Gi-Oh, there was only a few content creators that could actually garner an audience. If certain streamers were on, that game would be under 100 viewers. And it's just the nature of some games. Unless there's a very popular stream in it, the game is so far down the list, no one's going to scroll down and be like, oh, I remember that game a long time ago, I'm going to go and check it out. Or if there's a speed run for a very specific video game, chances of people scrolling down to see that game is just non-existent. I mean, they're going to talk about the numbers of Diablo 4. I remember people were memeing it that it had under 1,000, but then they were kind of in the drought of a season. Once the new season comes out, there's going to be a lot more saturation, then it dips off. This is normal with action RPGs, but I know for a lot of people, they're like, Diablo was the #1 game. Why isn't it not #1 anymore? I get it, but
in Diablo 2 both have
part of the life cycle.
In Diablo.
Jesus, what the fuck? Are you kidding me?
So yeah. D2 and D3 public.
Diablo 2 and Diablo 3.
Well, there's a new season in Diablo 3 that has a little bit.
Well, that one right there is Diablo 3. It's got 1.8K.
Okay. Oh, his face may be blocking it or something. My face might be blocking it. No, okay, no. It's fine. But nonetheless.
Have more viewers in Diablo 4 right now. And as it stands,
Wow.
if we go into the category, 0 of the people that were the major content creators are still basically covering this game on
of
Twitch on a
course.
daily basis. So the point being that, for as far as the content creation side of it goes, like it's pretty slow. Now, there's actually numerous reasons for this. I mean, first and foremost, it's obvious people don't become a content creator to get as minimal as views as possible. So when a game has a big spike, you're going to cover it, and if the game goes and like 99.4%, if that's an accurate statistic of players leave the game and you're still covering the game, that leaves you with 0.6% of your audience. But
Okay, to be fair, I streamed this game called Duelist, and I will die on a hill that is the best trading card game ever. But because I came from like Yu-Gi-Oh originally when I started streaming games on Twitch. Now, when I swapped over to that game, obviously people are like, "What the heck is this? This is not the same game you normally stream," but it's at least in the same genre. But I will stream games that are absolutely dead with 0 viewers. For me, if I'm enjoying the game, that's what I plan to do. Streaming isn't necessarily going to be my main source of income. It's more of like a fun thing. If I can get some clips, I'll upload them TikTok and YouTube because something cool happens. That's awesome. But for the most part, I'm mostly streaming for, I would say, myself in a sense. Sure, again, there is like, there's the subscriptions and stuff. But YouTube, I would say, is more where I would be able to monetize because sometimes, like, for example, if I'm doing a just gameplay and there's a cool clip and highlight, just export or whatever. But if I'm doing a build guide, that's a heavy investment in my time, and I'm not really necessarily like having a lot of fun sometimes with the build guide, with the exception of sometimes I will sit there for hours on end on lots of different video games making some sort of crazy build idea, and sometimes it's an absolute failure. But that's part of having fun for me in a game. Sometimes it's making a jank build, things that are just not supposed to be happening in the game, that are more in the fun area. And so
Yeah, it's
if
about
it gets no
right
views,
for
it's
some
fine.
people. I mean, I think that's the way the numbers work. I mean, for sure. How relevant is Twitch viewership? I think that Twitch viewership is relevant if you can understand the context behind it. So I think that if you can remove external variables, like remove drops, remove, like, for example,
Drops
let's look right now.
significantly increase games. It's insane how
What's like
much
a
drops affects the
popular
game.
Is there something with this? No, it's actually a pretty good section. Lost Ark. Like, Lost Ark has a lot of viewers right now. Not really because the game is popular, but because
there's
there's
drops.
an event going on.
Okay.
And that event is causing a lot of people to play the game. And
Oh, yeah,
that's
causing people to
obviously
play
with
and
Cyberpunk coming out.
also watch.
Cyberpunk not only
Yeah.
has drops, but just released new content. And also, Carnage, who's somebody who's very well known for streaming games like this, is streaming this game. So he's like one of the guys, right? Like, it's like if you're gonna watch a game like this, you're gonna watch somebody like Carnage. And let's look at some other games like Lies of P. How's this doing? Actually, the directory for Lies of P is incredibly healthy. That's really impressive.
I think that's a Soulsborne
But
game,
with
right?
some of these directories, the point that I was trying to get at, I can't really find a good example right now, unfortunately, is that some of these directories are going to be very, very top heavy. And what I mean by that is that there's going to be 1 or 2 streamers in the directory that's pretty much carrying the entire thing. So the directory wouldn't naturally have a lot of viewers, but it only has a lot of viewers because of a handful or a couple of people. Like whenever I stream WoW, WoW would be one of the top directories because I was streaming it. If I stopped streaming it, then it wouldn't be.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just like with Asmon, if he's got 10K viewers in, let's say, Diablo, I mean, that would push it all the way up towards the top from where it's currently standing. And sometimes just that one streamer of any video game, especially if it's during any speedrun, that can increase the sales, that can increase the player base of a game just from like one player playing it. Like Among Us kind of blew up, I would say, via streamers, playing the game, and then everyone wants to like download, play it. And so sometimes all it takes is like one really popular streamer to really give the illusion that the game's super, super doing well. But that's what happens.
It's just that simple. So that's just the way the numbers work. And anyway, the point with that is that if you can remove those like externalities, I do think that like comparing a PC game to a PC game that has the same type of audience is pretty fair.
Okay.
It is.
Okay, the reason why he's probably
there are
mentioning
a lot
that is because mobile games, sometimes the player base is huge, but like you know, if you're going on Twitch to find someone streaming a mobile game that's doing really well, that's not like a sponsored video, the chances are going to be a lot more slim. But there could be so many people playing the game, especially if you look at like outside of the US, because, you know, there's other streaming platforms, and some people in China might not be, you know, using Twitch, right? So there's still a large player base, but they're not watching, let's say, on Twitch, or they're not even just watching it in general. There's just a high player base.
Things that you have to add into. Payday 3 is an example of what you're talking about. Yeah, I guess I'll see if I can find that. Payday 3.
That game just came out too, right? Okay.
Yeah, this is a good example. So like this game has 12,000 viewers,
but half of them are
one. The truth is
one.
that this guy has 6,000 viewers. So if he wasn't streaming this game would be way lower. So he's basically carrying that entire section. And that's just the way a lot of these things are. Like same with this guy. This guy's got 6K viewers. It's like almost half of the viewers in the entire section are just watching this one guy. So it's not really a very good indicator of like the entirety of the server, or sorry, of the game.
I was thinking about it. It's actually more than that, and it's sort of doubling more than that. For instance, if we use one of what I would consider like the most well-respected Diablo 4 content creators with knowledge, I think Yugioh is a good example of one of these people.
Sure.
In every game I've seen him playing, he's got banger videos with guides. You can see here his most popular video, How to Progress to Level 100 Efficiency. And then the next one is a rogue meta build, and then a rapid fire rogue build. These got a lot of views.
Yeah, these are how to play the game videos.
It's because people search up like build guides.
Obviously run the website, Maxro, very well known, that makes guides for the content as well.
Yep.
Games like these ones, these ARPG games, are primarily about search terms. So somebody is going to search for the answer to something. They're going to look for something like barbarian guide or wizard build, for instance, and they're going to come across the website or the YouTube video.
Yeah.
So if somebody says how to progress, you know, what fastest way to level, they're probably...
Well, you're typing the title of the video, you're typing it and you're making the title of the video what you think somebody is going to search for, right? Like people are going to look for crafting tricks to improve your gear in Diablo 4. They're going to look for best rogue build, new rogue build guide.
They're going to get this video if they say that they're trying to find a rapid fire build or,
you know,
rogue build, what have you. They're probably going to run into this video, and then that's where you get your views from in the beginning of a new game. So what happens in the beginning of a new game is you make a build guide or something, and you're going to see like 60%, 70% of times of the volume of views you're getting are going to be from search terms, people looking things up about the game. This is fairly common for the launch of a new game when you're pumping out build guides. But if I show you the analytics on my channel, you're going to notice something. So for instance, if I pull up the analytics on my channel right here, you are very quickly going to notice YouTube search is only 5.8% of my
I got to
traffic.
check out mine.
Now, that should probably be higher if you want to have a growing channel.
Yeah.
True.
Browse feature can be fun.
That's also another way to tell if your channel is growing or not, is how many views you have from subscribers versus non-subscribers.
Yeah, you want it against non, right?
YouTube's recommending you, but if there's not a lot of YouTube search, that means people aren't kind of finding you as a new viewer. It just means they're sort of finding you on recommended, which means something's trending. So if Diablo 4 is trending a lot, your stuff will trend on the browse feature. But as Diablo 4 goes downhill and you don't have those search patterns, well, the growth is going to slow down.
That's why I think doing multiple games is a terrible idea, even though I still continue to do it. I like to play a lot of different games. I like to keep this channel in a variety state. Unless I find something that's like really, really, really niche that I really enjoy. And even then, I still would always want to come back to, let's say, Diablo, or once in a while Fortnite has an update, Overwatch. I like to play a variety of games because content creation, sometimes you get burnt out of playing the same game again and again. I'm sure a lot of you guys probably have already heard about that from other content creators.
Patterns. What does that particularly have to do with the fact that people move on from Diablo 4 quicker than some of the other games? Well, if you pull up a Google graph of search trends...
Well, who the fuck
Google
is going to
Trends.
look for a build guide if nobody's playing the game? I mean, do we really need it? Oh, like, I mean, I love graphs, but like, do we really need to build a fucking graph to like, okay, so you make a build guide for a game that nobody plays and nobody watches the build guide because nobody cares about the game. And that's why, for example, meta content for WoW got way more popular than actual guide content. Because people used to care about being good at WoW. Now people just care about being, about WoW being bad. That's it.
You know, I used to follow a lot of COD stuff, and like there was definitely like a COD cycle where like, oh, a new game comes out, people would upload stuff, and then it was always like the last Call of Duty was way better than this one. It probably happens with other video games too, but I used to do a lot of Call of Duty stuff. I used to grind like ranked in that game, and that was definitely a trend in the Call of Duty community where it became just popular just to kind of complain and say the last Call of Duty game was better, and then the new Call of Duty would come out, oh, brand new COD is the best one ever, I'm so excited, and then it definitely happened, but I was always on the side that like Black Ops 1, 2, and 3 were excellent games, and then they started getting a lot slower, just in general, but we're here to talk about Diablo
some
here.
people that probably do the content for fun. If they want to do the content for fun, then that's totally up to them. But the difference is that whenever you're doing the content for fun, it's just not getting the views.
No views, no monies, yep.
This is effectively for Diablo 4, the term Diablo 4 for search trends here. What you're going to notice fairly quickly is that obviously there's going to be more search trends, put it here so you can see, more search trends right at the launch of the game. So people are searching for answers to all the questions, and then it drops off fairly quickly. So we're at about 3%.
Well, that's crazy. Looking at this graph here, this is something that's new to me, is that before the game launched, it looks like in terms of the Google Trends, there was more search volume than the game in its current state, which that's wild to me. Obviously, I'm guessing this other spike was maybe when the content creators had their, like, I guess it's January, March, somewhere around there. There was maybe like some sort of beta that was available. I know I had early access. DM had early access. We both played, and this is the one that we can talk about. We had like the review copy of the game, so to speak, as well.
Of the search volume that we were at launch. And having 3% of the search volume externally means you're going to have 3% of the response in terms of your YouTube search term analytics. So there's a lot less people externally looking for the answer to something to either pull up a website, that has like a written guide.
Okay, but to be fair, also with Season 1, I wanted to go ahead and briefly mention this. Most of the builds, you throw in the Barber, you throw in the Revenge, and then like another random like heart. But those two hearts are just so overwhelmingly more powerful than anything that like they are pretty much going to be the best in the slot. And so you would just take any Season 0 build, throw in the Barber, and then that was your build for the new season. There wasn't enough, I would say, variety in the aspects or design in the actual season mechanic to incorporate newer builds. Like, for example, in Path of Exile, one of the newer things is that like there are these totems and you have to like channel them to destroy them. So some builds that would benefit off of this would be minions, or another build that would summon like other totems, so you could still do the objective while also still doing damage at the same time. Think of it kind of like a pet build in Diablo, that would make those builds a lot more powerful for the season mechanic. But this new season, all it is the same monster that you kill that just has a little bit of VFX of like little poison spores on it, and then you kill it basically twice, and then you get the new item. But the Malignant Tunnels are not enough to make a new build that specifically does Malignant Tunnels, because you kind of just get the Barber, and that's basically it, right?
Or to pull up, for instance, like a YouTube search term in order to get a video out of it. Now, this happens to every game. It would be foolish to say that this is unique to Diablo 4. Every game
Every game goes up and down. Like rune farming strategies in Elden Ring, it's not as popular as it was last year, because everybody has already played that game that's going to play the game. There's always going to be there's a new person that plays Elden Ring every day. But the rate of those new people is way lower than it was last year. So you're always going to have an audience. And if there's a new idea, people will probably end up watching it a little bit. But for the most part, yeah, most games are popular whenever they come out, and then they lose interest, and that's it. Like a good example of this is Starfield. Like, how many videos were people making at the beginning whenever Starfield came out about everything about the game? How many are they making now? Probably not as many, because they're making them about Cyberpunk now. Because Cyberpunk is the new game, and and Starfield is the old game.
Well, yeah, with a PvE game, that's normal.
Falls. But there's one reason that the search terms, I believe, are so reduced so quickly in this game is because Diablo 4 is not really that complicated. Like, you can use a build guide, but the reality of it is you get gear fairly early, and you have your perfect gear fairly early, around like level 70 to 80, right around there. You're going to have like pretty good gear already if you're grinding, and you don't really need to look anything up for the most part. The answers to everything are fairly simple.
Well, it's the same as the last season,
in the beginning, sure, you might need a build guide if you're racing, right around here, but 3 months later, the people that are looking up build guides at this point, you don't really need a build guide 3 months into the game. Once you understand the basics, you're fine. So the reality is, you guys really don't need Diablo 4 content creators to figure this game out. Like it's fairly.
Well, you don't need. Well, but you do need Diablo 4 content creators to tell you the game's dying.
Hey, that's the popular thing. That's why you guys wanted me to react to this, because it's literally all over my feed too. There are a lot of people
that have played the game, and this is why Diablo 4 being a dead game is a popular topic. The reason why is that 97% of people aren't watching the game anymore. They don't care about the game anymore.
No, but I think they do care about watching other people trying to dunk on the game, saying, you know, why. I mean, it really needs to have more in-game content. Like, that's straight up. But at the end of the day, again, I've watched this on the Call of Duty life cycle. I didn't really engage in it too much because all I cared about was ranked anyways.
Or they see a video of somebody saying nobody cares about the game anymore, they think to themselves, huh, I knew I made the right decision.
I'm gonna watch the video.
I was right.
Yeah, because I'll be streaming Diablo 4 on TikTok and Twitch, and like I just get random people that will come in and be like, bro, why are you playing this game? It's dead. It's like, but then why are you looking at the Diablo directory, right? Because on Twitch, it tells you if someone's like a first-time viewer, because like I think Twitch wants you to say, hi, welcome to the stream, welcome to our squad. But like it's interesting because there'll be people for the first time that are coming in, and I genuinely don't understand this, at least on Twitch, because on TikTok, I mean, you're just throwing someone's stream. That makes sense, right? But if someone goes in and finds my stream from like the Diablo, because they have to be coming from the Diablo directory, right? I don't know how else they'd be a first-time streamer coming to my stream, unless they maybe watch me over on YouTube and then like follow the Twitch link from there. Either way, it's very strange for them to come in and be like, dude, why are you playing Diablo? It's a dead game. I'm like, well, I'm still doing some other build guides and whatever. But
and they feel good, and so they watch the video and they're like, yes, another well-educated opinion. Yeah, they want to be reassured. That's it.
Simple. Now, there is some exceptions to this. Like, I think Uber Lilith is one where even myself, I had to get tips. Shout out to Nick Crew, Nick 2, who had a really good Paragon board that I copied in order to get part of my Uber Lilith down. So there is definitely times where you're going to find little pieces of
information. Yeah, Uber Lilith is still pretty hard. I'm going to keep it real with you guys.
You don't really need a build guide.
Yeah.
And 3 months after the game's launch, you particularly don't need a build guide because if you've been playing the game that long, like, you understand the game.
Yeah, of course.
So it breaks down to two types of audiences then. You have the people that are left that still need information on the game, which is fairly small. Like, there's not a lot of people to, like, teach the game to at the moment because they don't.
Okay, really to be fair, though, the game did go on sale, and when games go on sale, obviously there's going to be newer players. And, like, it doesn't matter for me personally. If there's still, like, basically 0 viewers in a game, I still play the game, and I still like to teach it because I've been streaming for so long. It helps me when I'm just playing the game to just narrate, like, in my head what I'm doing for my own strategy, especially because I come from a card game background. You have to, like, kind of set up certain things, and then sometimes it helps out for other people to be like, no, you can do this. I like streaming my games, even if it's like Diablo 2, Median XL, which has so many crazier builds, and like, because I may be newer to the game, and if I'm working on, like, you know, building my character, I'll kind of explain what I'm doing, but someone could be like, hey, you could actually get like 2% more DPS if you move this thing over here or socket this in, and I'm very helpful for, like, very thankful for that, for you guys coming in and showing me just a lot of different action RPGs and stuff.
The information, to be honest with you. Then you have the other segment of people.
Well, it's not that they don't need the information. Like, Season 2 build guides for Diablo 4 will be popular.
Yeah. He's right.
It's just that nobody is making new builds and new characters right now in Diablo 4.
I don't know. My Thorns Rogue is
Whenever
definitely pretty different.
Out, everybody wants to watch build guides and new, what are the new league starters and everything. People aren't interested in league starters a month after the league comes out. That's just how things go. It's normal.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
I want to see news and conversations around the game, all right? Which is why, for instance, I'm not posting every single day because I don't really want to fill build guides every day. I don't think people need them, so that only leaves with conversational pieces.
But actually, this is kind of a problem Diablo has in general, and it comes down to not really wanting to build another character. The glyph leveling is just way too tedious and way too long. They need to make it so all your characters share the same glyphs. This is something that's actually already in Diablo 3. There's so many things in Diablo 3, if they just copy-pasted, the game would actually feel 1,000 times better for quality of life to make alts, because making an alt in Diablo Diablo 4 is not friendly. Making multiple level 100s every season is not friendly. They keep on buffing the XP, but at the end of the day, they like nerfed the XP and they nerfed like the rate at which a lot of stuff is acquired. And then they are going in the right direction, but I don't get why they even nerfed it in the first place. It was still way too long. I guess their idea was to have people have a longer life cycle because it takes so long to hit from 1 to 100 that they wanted it to be a very long grind. So you would play from the start of the season all the way up until the very end. But realistically, that's not going to be happening. Most casuals cannot hit 100 in D4, and that's still a problem in the game.
And I try not to post those every single day because a lot of those tend to be fairly negative at the moment.
Well, so what are you going to say? How many different ways are you going to say it?
Draining too many in a row. So the answer to the original title question is, why are you seeing content creators move on from Diablo 4? It's because the viewers that are there to have their questions answered are diluting significantly fairly quickly. There's really not an audience to preach build guides to at the moment. I don't think I've seen anybody put a build guide anywhere on YouTube up in like the last month that's got like 100,000 views. I don't think I've seen a single person.
I'd be surprised if it had 50.
What I would expect you would
at the start of the season, like I think I had a rogue build that popped off because it was a really good guide and it was like 250,000 views. Now I think the more recent one, I don't know, is like breaking 10K, and that one is I think way cooler because it's a niche build. It's not like what I usually do is I make like the best guide for whatever meta build is, and then I'll go off and play like more random weird fun stuff because well most people only want the meta stuff in the very beginning so you can get all of your gear and then you can mess around with some meme stuff like I do with Path of Exile. It's kind of a thing that a lot of people like to do in action RPG.
All of the content creators who are playing the other games, the other seasons, myself included, by the way, will come back October 17th for season 2.
Same.
Start
I'll
pumping
come back.
out.
That's right. We milked the same old dead cow again, and then what's like this is the again
You know what's weird? It's like, okay, I have legitimately taken builds from the previous Diablo season. Like, if there's, like, season 28 and then season 29 comes out, if the build is exactly the same, I will re-record the whole video. But sometimes there isn't even a change in the build because there's no upgrade. Like, let's say from Diablo season 0 to season 1, some builds, with the exception of Malignant Hearts, you could basically use the exact same video game footage. And you would have, effectively, the updated build. All you need to do is change like one thing because it could be like a math numerical. Oh, this skill got buffed up by 4%. Do they really need to see that in the damage numbers in order to understand it? Not really. But if there's a whole new mechanic, like it's a whole new set, then that's different. Then you have to re-record. But yeah, you could basically recycle your own content. I've definitely done it because there is no change. But if
there it is. It's just that simple. Yep.
Game good.
That's the way YouTube works.
And then you just say that the game is dead.
On like the 5 new in-game bosses we're getting, you're going to start seeing people putting out guides on how to beat those
and then
bosses.
Diablo 3 is greater than Diablo 4.
Basically, everything related to teaching the new content is definitely going to be something you're going to come out. But for this time right now, yeah, the Diablo 4 content creators aren't really pumping out a lot of content because there's no content really to create that the audience needs.
Yeah, exactly.
As for myself, if October 17th comes and season 2 is a flop, I have said this before, I will be taking the name of the channel and changing it probably to Darth Microtransaction TV to go ahead and match my Twitch page here.
Dang.
And I will be moving on to play variety content from here and do game variety.
That's a big commitment because for me it's hard to commit to like one game in general. I have like one channel that's just strictly dedicated to Yu-Gi-Oh because I've been playing that game for years, and you know, if you play a game for years, maybe that could be RuneScape, MapleStory, any card game or any game that you've invested thousands of hours or time, or like League of Legends, you bought all the skins, you spent hundreds and thousands, even maybe thousands of dollars in that game. It's hard to quit, and like that's the kind of how I feel about Yu-Gi-Oh. It's like I can't really give it up because I've been playing it for so long, and there's like the cost, like time sink fallacy. Whatever, we won't get too far into that, but for the most part, like if you invest a bunch of time into a game, sometimes people just like they're just gonna have to be playing it for basically their whole life, or they've been playing some sort of like weird like MMO that they've been playing for many years, or like I still go back to Guild Wars once in a while because I generally enjoy Guild Wars. But
that's effectively my.
I think that Diablo 4 is never going to retain an audience of people because I don't think Blizzard is capable of making a good game.
Wow, that's a pretty bold statement.
I genuinely don't think that they are. Yeah, I don't think I don't think they can do it. Like, I want to be proven wrong. I do. I want to be proven wrong.
My plan, it seems to be, from what I'm seeing with like every other content creator, kind of everyone's plan, at the moment.
Yeah.
Because if the viewers aren't
Yeah,
there,
you know, I heard Rax talking about going to Last Epoch and other content, other like, you know, ARPGs, which I think is really good just because like I like seeing other content creators takes on different builds, and Rax is a great content creator. I mean, I'm his friend on Diablo. He gave me his Chipotle order. He's a cool guy. And so I'd like to see his Last Epoch builds as well, because sometimes, even if I've been playing a game for a really long time, sometimes I will learn stuff from other content creators that I
there
would
to
have
watch
never
the
thought
game.
about.
And if the game doesn't have anything to teach, there's not a
What are you
huge
doing?
point in
Yeah.
making guides. And I've touched on this before, but Diablo 4 isn't actually particularly entertaining to grind immensely at the end game once you have several level 100s, and it's also not particularly interesting to stream.
I was saying
Like,
that
streaming this
for a
game,
long time.
Extremely boring game to watch.
I don't really feel like I'm...
Okay, to be fair, lots of action RPGs aren't going to be games where people are watching someone live to make the build. It's usually just to hang out with a streamer. But if they wanted the build guide, that's what the YouTube is for. But sometimes you may want to ask a very specific question. Like, I play Path of Exile, and I know the game relatively well. So if someone asks me, like, how should I be crafting this? And I usually just tell them, okay, if you're a beginner crafter, there's a lot of RNG involved in it. My suggestion is to get like some sort of item that has a fracture base, and then you can hit it with essences, and at least you'll have two relatively decent rolls on the thing, and then you can maybe craft like the third one. But like to teach someone like beast crafting in a short like Twitch stream, like an answer a question in 1 minute, because like a lot of times when I get asked a question, they want like that answer like immediately, and they want like a yes no. Sometimes I can throw in the path of building. I can just like go over their build and be like, okay, it's this gem or this gem, which one is more damage? That one I can answer very quickly. But like to ask someone like on a stream, like, how do I craft this? And I gotta go to Craft of Exile, and I can sit there for like 10-15 minutes and then be like, okay, by the way, your chances of try to get your god bow that you're asking how to craft, I mean, you got like a 1 out of 50 chance after all of these steps, which cost several divines, and good luck. You have like a very, very low chance of getting it. They're gonna be like, what the heck is this, man? But that's the reality of some action RPGs. But Diablo 4 doesn't really have that. Most of the questions that I get asked, oh, how do I increase my damage? Your damage is more than mine. And then I gotta tell them, I got this video that's gonna explain crit strike damage, crit strike chance, and then vulnerability is all you really need to go for, and then your numbers will be big. That's really what it comes down to, which is like a really easy thing, and I have like a video guide for that, but let's continue here.
Tons of very entertaining content. I feel
really
like I'm much more entertaining
Yeah,
playing.
PoE is more interesting to watch.
That's true.
Because,
Okay.
like, there's more.
Yeah, what the thing with PoE that's pretty entertaining, and like I've even had clips hit over 100K, where we're doing stupid stuff. Like, I'm intentionally wasting what some people would work very, very hard to get this item up into a certain point, and then you basically have like the best in slot, but like it could be better, but you could destroy the item by like double corrupting it or just corrupting it just for the sake of it. It is a big risk for the content creator in terms of the perspective, because a content creator that's really good in PoE, they could farm up the stuff relatively fast, but like someone else that hasn't played, like if they're spending hundreds or thousands of Chaos Orbs to get this item up to this point, and then they're just gonna RNG it, that could be exciting, and I think that does work, especially because you can title your stream with Path of Exile, going to do this, like a big, like I'm going to double corrupt a Mage Blood or a Headhunter, or just a very big thing when we reach X goal. But like I feel like that's kind of hard to do with Diablo 4, at least. I don't know. Maybe you can make a stream like hardcore, blue items only. Would that be fun? That's almost like ruthless in PoE. But nonetheless, let's continue. This video is too long already.
Like there are drops that can happen in a map that are exciting, like having a Divine Orb drop or some other like rare divination card, or a 6-link or whatever. Right? There's a million things that could drop.
But it doesn't happen in Diablo. Well, actually, we could get something exciting in Diablo. You know what that is? I mean, the chances are so low. But there is the Shaco, right? There is the Grandfather. There are those super incredibly rare items. But they're at some point, it's just like too rare, right? I know it's changing in the next season. At that point, I don't know. People will still probably upload YouTube videos. And I'm still going to get excited. When I get a Shaco to drop, I will be very excited because it was an item that was so rare. Maybe that was their design intention the whole time, is to have in our brains, this item is ultra mega rare. You're never gonna get it, and then this season when we get it, it feels better to get, if that makes sense, right?
With Diablo, all the things that you get that drop, they're all things that you're gonna open after the map. You see what I'm saying? So like you never actually get to see like that instantaneous, oh shit, it dropped.
I don't know.
You don't get that moment.
When certain bows drop, like
Other
a
games,
unique one,
like I'm going to be
I was
playing
excited
now with Path of
the
Exile
first
Hardcore,
time.
which you're welcome to come on by after this video. Which
But then you realize most of the uniques are bad.
Comment. I find that that's much more entertaining. You get to see me die or learn something new, as opposed to playing the same thing everyone in the audience already knows, and I already know over and over and over again. But I've seen this comment many times, wondering like what happened to all the Diablo 4 content creators, you know, the viewers on Twitch. I keep seeing this comment, particularly all over the place, so I wanted to address it. That's about it. That's my explanation for it. Hopefully it makes sense. Love you all, and I'll see you on the next live stream.
Okay,
and there's also the other fucking fact that if you're going and you're playing a game, and your job is YouTube, and you're making videos about a game that nobody wants to see, then nobody is going to give a fuck about your channel. Nobody's going to care. Like, you're not going to make any money. Your channel's not going to grow. You're just going to waste your fucking time. It's just, are we supposed to care about YouTubers now? Listen, man, if you're mad that you're not a famous YouTuber with a bunch of bitches and a big yacht and a Lamborghini, that sounds like a personal problem. Like, you don't have to bring that into my chat and ruin everybody else's time just because you don't have a Lamborghini. Like, it's not our fault that you don't have a Lamborghini. Just stop it. Yeah, this is a you problem.
that was a very weird ending.
Ban for insecurity? I think we might have to.
Okay, anyways, that was a pretty funny, unexpected ending, but nonetheless, we'll be playing Diablo when the new season comes out. Just for the sake of mentioning it, no, I'm not quitting, because I know for the past couple days, I played Diablo 3, and then on top of that, we also had, I was still working on my Starfield playthrough, and then on top of that, we are also, well, when Overwatch came with the update, we were playing Overwatch on the live stream. I play a lot of different games. I don't really plan to quit really any game permanently, although I haven't really been playing Heroes of Storm back when I used to like stream that game a lot, but that game's not really getting updates. So when games get updates, we'll play them. But anyways, that's it. What'd you guys think of it? Anyways, if you enjoyed it, drop a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one. Peace out.